Automating business. This is one of my favorite topics. I'm excited to share with you the experiences that I've had building my business and automating it as I build. Automation allows for democratization. Somebody can start their business and there's so much going on behind it. It's computerized. It's not necessary to have a lot of money to raise venture capital to start a new business. You can leverage social media platforms, no code, and other great tools. Why do we automate? How to automate? And what to automate? The newest trends, one called GPT-3 in AI, that show us what is coming in automation. Can you automate creativity? Why should we automate in business? It seems obvious. You automate to save time. What are you going to use that time for? Are you going to use it to spend more time with your friends, spend more time with your customers, or just have free time to lay around? I get the most joy out of coaching people one-on-one and giving workshops where I can give out useful information. People can find the information that is good for them, and then we connect on Q&A to dive deeper into the areas of their interest. For me, it's all about connection. It seems crazy that automation is about connection, but any task where I'm not connecting with a person, to me, should be automated so that I can have more time to connect with you. For you, what does automation mean? What would you do with it? If you had more time, would you spend it with your family? Would you spend it with your clients? Would you start new businesses because it's so much easier? Would you spend that time on self-care? There are so many options. One of the most important things in automating your business is to ask yourself why you're doing it, because that will help you know what to automate. How to automate? The 80-20 rule. I prefer the one thing rule rather than the 80-20 rule, but in this case, I think it's a great metric. Jack Butcher suggests you spend 20% of your time automating and 80% of your time focusing on your business. What does this mean? I look at the things that are taking me the most time that I repeat once or twice and I automate them. The barrier to my business is now removed, and so it may be repeated more going forward once automated. Next, I figure out what tool I'm going to use to automate. I follow others, I join communities. Some are paid communities, such as Visualize Value community, and some are open, such as different groups that you might meet on Twitter or YouTube channels that you can subscribe to. There's blogs that you can follow. I follow all kinds of new tech trends, ways that I can possibly use AI, and different recommendations from people that I look up to who have automated their businesses. For you, what is the 80-20? What does that 20 look like? And what's in your 80? Your 80% is you doing your business every day. What in that 80 can be automated? And then spend your 20 figuring out how to automate more and more. You've decided to automate pieces of your business, but what to automate and what not to automate? It is going to be a personal choice. I split it into back end and front end. When I think about back end, I think about lead generation, the funnel coming from social media onto my website, people that want to become clients that want to connect with me. That ends up being funnels, lead gen, website email capture, calendaring, questionnaires, and you can connect all of these with new tools that are no code. One of the favorites right now is Zapier. What's an example of this back-end connection? I can give someone a calendar invite, and when they choose a time, calendar checks to make sure that there's time on my calendar, and then schedules a Zoom meeting with both of us and populates it on both of our calendars. It's a very simple example. Imagine if you started doing this with more business processes that you don't need to be involved in. Now, what about the front end? What do I mean by that? That's not really client interaction. It's the repeatable client interaction that is distribution of content. That's you watching this video. How did this video get on social platforms? When you're thinking about automation tools for distributing your content, it's important that the content still feels intimate. The reason to distribute content in the first place is for you to get to know me on video, via blogs, via short tweets. If it feels that it came from a bot, that's removing the goal of the content, which is to build a relationship. In practical terms, this means that native on each social platform is better because it doesn't feel like you have to go through a bunch of hoops. You're talking to a bot, or to watch a video, you have to click through and wait and take time. This front end can overlap into interacting with people. Recognize that people know when you're being authentic, and people know when you're just trying to collect numbers. People aren't numbers. And so be careful on the front end that the automation makes it easier for you to truly connect on a human level and not harder. Can you automate creativity with AI? Yes and no. When I talk about AI, I'd like to have you reconsider it as augmented intelligence. And when I talk about creation, I want to talk about my mother, who was a screenwriter. She used to say, it is so much easier to write an adaptation than to write an original. When she was writing a screenplay, if it was based on a book or a foreign movie or even a cartoon strip, it was easier than starting from a blank slate. You can use tools today like Copy.ai to allow you to get that first step. If you want to write a blog on cholesterol, you could type in a couple of your thoughts, what you think about cholesterol, what you think about the current science, and Copy.ai will come up with a paragraph for you. It may not be a perfect paragraph, but now you're in the mode of adaptation instead of original creation. The most exciting technology in automating creation is GPT-3. Natural language processing takes chunks of words and letters and turns them into numbers so that a computer can see how many of the certain words appear, what appears more, what appears next to each other, so that computers are learning language. The importance of GPT-3 is that it represents a massive breakthrough. It looked at 1,000 times more words than any other program has. It effectively read the internet. GPT-3 can now write full news columns, and it's being used by news outlets. It can also code, so you can just ask it to connect or write a certain thing in SQL and connect databases. It's still learning, so it's not perfect, but it's really exciting to track and be at the forefront. Breakthroughs like GPT-3 don't come along every day. For instance, in 2012, we had a massive breakthrough in computer vision that has resulted in all of us driving cars that show us what we're backing into. We have these cameras, and they can recognize different shapes as that's a cat, that's a person. This all happened with a big breakthrough when all of a sudden AI could see better than the naked eye. GPT-3 represents that for writing and reading because it's read enough that it starts to understand context. GPT-3 only came out July 2020. We're already seeing really exciting products such as Magic Sales Bot that can help you look at targets that you want to sell to by reading their websites and then authoring letters, or Copy.ai that can help you create blog posts, social posts, Facebook posts, or even think about new ideas that might go viral for a brand new business. This is just the beginning of automated intelligence and using AI to supercharge your creativity and supercharge the amount of content that you can get out there. I hope you enjoyed my video on automating business, and what I'm learning along the way. Think about why you want to automate, because that will show you what to automate and how to automate. I'd love to know, is there something that's come up that you're thinking now, yes, I want to automate? What do you think about this idea of automating creation before we automate creativity? I'd love to know.